Thank you, Hiteshji. Thank you, each of you, for joining this evening Adda. Very interesting thing. Uh, uh, a fund gives X return, investor gets X minus something because of maybe not investing for the tenure which was required. In fact, we actually coined a term distributor alpha. AMC gives 15%, distributor actually gives 15 plus. Why it happens? Because what we think as a distributor in mutual fund, you manage the behavior of the investor, which an AMC cannot do. It's not possible. And with that managing of that behavior, you actually create an alpha for that investor. It's not that कि मैं आपका सामने आके ये चीज बोलने के लिए सिर्फ बोल रहा है. We actually gone through a research report that with distribution, how much time an investor stays with a particular fund, irrespective of AMCs. And there, with that data point and without that distribution's handholding data point, it clearly shows that there is a distribution alpha which actually you create. And I think that's the best thing which, as a mutual fund distributor, you can create for your investor. Today's discussion, as Hiteshji said, is on behavioral finance, behavioral biases. Uh, I will try to make it very simple. मेरा एक रिक्वेस्ट रहेगा, लेट अस मेक इट इंटरेक्टिव में कुछ कुछ क्वेश्चंस भी करेंगे, आप चैट बॉक्स में डाल सकते हैं उसका आंसर. एंड जो भी चीज बोल रहे हैं, अगर आपको लगता है इंपॉर्टेंट है, कुछ है, लिखने का कोशिश कीजिएगा, क्योंकि हम लोग सोचते हैं हम सुपर कंप्यूटर है विच इज देयर अवर ब्रेन, बट धीरे धीरे करके वो ब्रेन का एजिंग के साथ एवरीथिंग इनफैक्ट comes down, and it's better the more you write, automatically your way of taking things becomes easier. Again, suggestion है, it's not that कि I'm ये कोई क्लास नहीं है, so whatever way it suits, it's 100% okay. So behavioral finance actually है क्या? First thing, the difference between I think the old economics and the current economics is, ओल्ड इकोनॉमिक्स का थ्योरी सब कुछ स्टार्ट हुआ था ये सोच के ह्यूमंस आर रैशनल. हम लोगों को भी अच्छा लगता है सोचने का, बोलने का कि हम तो रैशनल हैं, सब कुछ देख दुख के ही हम सब कुछ डिसीजन लेते हैं. एक्चुअली ऐसे है ही नहीं. सो ह्यूमंस आर नॉट रैशनल. इनफैक्ट द पर्सन हु एक्चुअली डिस्कवर्ड क्वांटम फिजिक्स, उनके साथ ऐसे एक स्टोरी है. देयर वाज अ मीटिंग विद अरविंद फिशर हु इज एन इकोनॉमिस्ट, और अरविंद फिशर उनको बोले थे प्लैंक को कि थैंक यू, आई एम मीटिंग अ ग्रेट फिजिशियन, कितना इंटेलिजेंट है आप. तो प्लैंक ने बोला, जो क्वांटम फिजिक्स इनफैक्ट हु क्रिएटेड, ही सेड कि अच्छा हुआ मैं इकोनॉमिक्स नहीं पढ़ा, मेरे से तो होता नहीं था. तो अरविंद फिशर को लगा कि भाई ये क्या है, ये तो फिजिक्स है इतना. इनफैक्ट आप लोग भी काफी लोग सुने ही होंगे, साइंस जो पढ़े हैं भाई, ज्ञानी है, इंजीनियर है, आईआईटी फाईटी सब सब लोग सुने हैं, बट ये इकोनॉमिक्स को कैसे बोल रहे हैं. व्हाट प्लैंक सेड, द थिंग विथ विच वी वर्क डजंट हैव एनी इमोशन, तो वो रिएक्ट नहीं करते हैं. तो H2 और O ये दोनों देने से मेरा ऑलरेडी एक थ्योरी आ गया है, और हम लोग टेस्ट करके देख सकते हैं कि वो पानी ही होगा. बट सपोज H2 का अगर रिएक्ट करने का भी मन आता था, उसका अगर इमोशन रहता था, वो बोलेगा भाई 10 साल से हम पानी तैयार कर रहे हैं, चलो अभी O को भी दो देना होगा तब हम पानी तैयार करेंगे. Now that doesn't happen, and that happens in economics, that happens in finance, and that's why it becomes much difficult. So there are two scenario. तो आप लोग के लिए होम टास्क है ये, मतलब अभी का क्लास टास्क है, अड्डा टास्क है. इसका क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे, जिसको भी जो भी आंसर लगता है, कोई ठीक कोई गलत नहीं है, यू कैन पुट इट इन योर चैट बॉक्स. सपोज अ सिटी इज प्रिपेयरिंग, तो कोलकाता ही ले लेते हैं. फॉर एन आउटब्रेक, हम लोग सब देखे हैं कोविड में क्या हुआ है. Unusual disease which expected to kill 600 people. Now there are two alternatives. आपके ऊपर है आप कौन सा डिसीजन लेंगे. फर्स्ट डिसीजन सेज, अगर ए डिसीजन लेते हैं 400 people will be saved, तो 400 लोग बेঁচে থাকতে পারবে যদি আপনি ए डिसीजन নেন. If you take B, decision B or option B, then there is 1/3 probability that 600 people will be saved, and 2/3 probability that no one will be saved. 1/3 probability 600 people will be saved, and 2/3 probability कि কেউ বাঁচবে না। And the first one with certainty says 400 people will be saved. Now, which one is the correct answer? Option 1, na option, or option A, ki option B. You all can put it in your chat box. So A, good. Now go to the second question. I mean, scenario 2. Again, outbreak of an unusual disease which is expected to kill 600 people. Already বলে দেওয়া হয়েছে 600 people is expected to kill. Option A, if it is adopted, 200 people will die. Option B, if B is adopted, then 1/3 probability that no one will die, 2/3 probability that 600 people will die. Which one will you choose? ফার্স্টটাতে 200 পিপল মরেই যাবে, সেকেন্ডটাতে প্রবাবিলিটি রয়েছে 1/3 probability that no one will die, 2/3 probability that 600 people will die. এটা সেকেন্ডের কোয়েশ্চেনের অ্যান্সার দিতে থাকুন। প্রথমটার হয়ে গেছে, এবার সেকেন্ডেরটা আপনি দিতে থাকুন। রঞ্জিত চৌধুরী, both are same. Good. Actually, what happens? It is not that, again I am saying কি এটা কোনো ক্লাসের কোয়েশ্চেন ঠিক ভুল না। টিপিক্যালি যদি দেখেন এখানেও সেটা হয়েছে, মেজরিটি অফ পিপল ইন সিনারিও 1 চুজেস A, ইভেন দো দুটোরই অ্যান্সার সেম, and majority of the people in the second option chooses B. Again, answer is same. So Ranjit da, আপনার জন্য সবাই মিলে হাততালি. You are the only person who said that in both the cases it is actually giving the same result. Now, behavioral finance or whatever we say, the biases actually gives us or nudges us in the same way. আমরা বুঝতে পারি না হয়তো কিরকম ভাবে আমরা nudged হয়ে যাই, এবং তখন maybe the decision which we take is not the correct decision. Now, there is a great thing which I always think any mutual fund distributor should follow, that personal finance is more personal than finance. প্রত্যেক মানুষের আলাদা আলাদা করে রিকোয়ারমেন্ট থাকবে, আলাদা বায়াসেস থাকবে। রিকোয়ারমেন্ট ইজ ওয়ান থিং which is very easy, যেটা কোনো অ্যালগো তৈরি করে নিতে পারে। What that robo advisor will not be able to do is to know the biases of that person, और वही चीज आप लोग समझ पाएंगे। And that's why I strongly believe robo advisor etc, जितना भी लोग आ रहा है, जितना भी कुछ हो रहा है, that is a big advantage a human being can do, you can do, and that's where you can create the differentiation. And that's why it is important कि লোকেদের biases কি রয়েছে, to understand that আপনারও bias রয়েছে, not that কি you also don't have biases, it's not that, each of us are having biases. The moment we are aware of that, it becomes easier for us to take decision. 1987, there was a huge crash in the US market. At that point of time, before the crash, in fact, there was a efficient market idea যেখানে মোটামুটি ভাবে বোঝা মনে হয়েছিল লোকেদেরকে যে ক্র্যাশ হতেই পারে না মার্কেট, because so much of liquidity, so much of investment which is happening, there is a growth, so nothing is going to happen. And there was a herd mentality which started. And then there was a huge crash. The moment that crash happened, যারাই ওখানে ভাবছিল যে nothing is going to happen, they were all coming out, and that created a bigger crash. Now, that showed that knowing human behavior, knowing their biases becomes important to manage money. The same thing happened in dot-com bubble. Again, I'm sure there will be few, at least in this group also, who have seen that 2000, 2001, where people were too hopeful. In fact, এখন যেমন আমরা PB এই সমস্ত বলি, they were at that point of time looking into number of clicks or number of eyeballs. That was the thing, that if this particular platform is having number of more eyeballs, they will be valued more. And then the burst happened. The moment the burst happened, every framework goes for a toss. And that is the best way to understand the irrationality of investors. What we have learned from all these things, that the moment we know about the behavioral factors of market, it becomes easier for us to control our biases and to manage the investors' money in a better way. Now, typically, there are different ways of looking into it. What I thought, কি এটা মোটামুটি হবে an investor এর journey বলা যায়। First, the information he gets is too complex, বুঝতে পারে না, he or she thinks so much of information, what to do, what not to do. Then there is a fear, পয়সা ডুবে যাবে। Then there is a peer influence. No, 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 I have seen, I have invested there, that has given a very good return. Then the greed comes. If my neighbor has got a return and I have not got, I have to do something more, something better so that I can catch up. And then there are validation also. Somebody else will say, no, no, whatever you are doing is 100% correct. Kono bhoy nahi, ekdom koro. And then I will start thinking that everything is under control. Every day morning, I see the news. Everything is there in the paper. I go through each and every balance sheet. I know all. Then market volatility starts. The moment the volatility starts, whatever control I was having, it goes for a toss and I start panicking. And then I think about rationally and I start taking a rational decision after panicking, after going out of the market. Then I become national. Can we change everything and start understanding that we will be irrational to create a framework to make it much more rational so for an investor? That's what we are trying to do. So uh, humans are rational while making investment decision is not true, because biases are there which actually changes rationality. So how are the things which actually happens, why we become irrational? First, there are emotional influence, fear, greed, excitement, all these things comes. Then there are biases, cognitive biases. Cognitive biases, there will be data, there will be errors, there will be our brain, as I said, will take few of the informations which are the recent information, but will not be able to understand or take the information of last 10 years, 20 years pattern. That creates problem and it creates much bigger biases. Then there are social influencers like peer pressures, etc., etc. And whatever information which we can gather are actually limited. The financial information or the industry information is huge, and we have a limited brain to process those information. So emotional, cognitive, social, and limited information, these are the reasons with which we become irrational. Now, again, it is not only for investment, it actually happens in every sphere of our life. So some event happens, some political discussion happens, whatever we see in our vicinity, whatever we have heard, or whatever we believe, we try to protect our views with those beliefs. The moment you start thinking, you gather more information, you understand the bigger picture, you will see you become much better commentator of that particular event. So behavioral finance unravels the connection between human psychology and finance. This helps you to control your emotions, biases. And that's what, as a mutual fund distributor, we think is the most important thing we should have. As an AMC, in fact, what we try to do, we try to take advantage of overreaction and underreaction of the investors, because we know that irrationality will be there. It's not that everybody will be a mutual fund distributor like Finomatic's partner. So there will be investors who will be having overconfidence. There will be investors who will be in panic in the market. If I see those overreaction or underreaction, can I take advantage? Second, the fund managers are also having bias. They are also human beings. So the more we create process, the more they know or learn about their biases, it becomes easier for them to control and take a much better decision. So typically, traditional finance assumptions will be having a theory of mean variance. যেটা কমেছে সেটা বাড়বে, যেটা বেড়েছে সেটা কমবে. It will be predictable. It will be having an efficient hypothesis that price to earning, price to average এর উপরে চলে গেছে তো কমে যাবে. All these are traditional. But the behavioral finance assumption will say there will be irrationality. There will be errors and you have to take advantage with those errors. There will be expected return, which will be factored with risk and beyond risk, social statuses, responsibility. All these things will be actually having a biases on expected return. When you have money, পকেটে যদি বেশি পয়সা থাকে, যদি 5% ও মার্কেট কমে যায়, it's okay. যখন whatever you have invested in equity and then there is a loss of 5%, it's a different bias or different human nature or rationality which will come. All the efficiency which we say in the market doesn't actually happen. If market is in teji, if people are positive, then the average mean has to be much higher. So I have to take into consideration those factors as well. So let's understand ourselves. তিনটে এখানে ডিফারেন্ট টাইপের মানুষকে নেওয়ার চেষ্টা করেছি and try to give a perspective of मुकेश शर्मा जी लिखे थे पूरा बंगाली मने है यस सर इनफैक्ट मेरा हिंदी जितने भी लोग सुने हैं 2 मिनट के अंदर इंग्लिश भी जो सुने हैं 2 मिनट के अंदर बोला है आप बंगाली है क्या सो दैट्स व्हाई বাংলায় কথা বলতে মাঝে মাঝে ভালো লাগে so Akash is investing for child education, middle-aged engineer, loves analyzing data, believes in his research skill. He is investing savings for his children's education. Why I thought of putting this type of persona? Because in your cases also you will be seeing different type of investor in this particular persona. And just think through whether you actually come across with these type of persons. Madhu, she is investing for retirement. Cautious accountant, stability, as she is an accountant, goes through the numbers, and she is looking for secure investment option. Then Sid, new investor, young artist, he is new in investing, he follows trends, goes with his gut feeling, gut investment kore ekta boi royeche, he has gone through that and he takes lot of decisions on his own. Now, as I said, Akash has studied the market thoroughly. New technology seems promising. He invests. Madhu sticks to what she knows because she goes through the numbers and she is a little bit risk averse. Sid, he looks into the friends and says, okay, friends are talking about a new startup. Let's invest into that. Now, when market rise, how each of these person actually behaves. Akash, see, I knew it. My research was right. Madhu, market is volatile. Maybe I should move everything to FD. Market থাকারই দরকার নেই, FD তে অন্তত পয়সা ঢুকবে না. Said, startup is soaring. My instincts were spot on. So just think through. When market is rising, still there are investors who are saying, না না, FD তে চলে যাও, volatile আছে, কখন পড়ে যাবে, যা profit আছে নিয়ে নি. When market dips, Akash, my research said it would rise, so I will stick. Madhu, I was right, see? That's why I'm saying FD যাও, আর কোনো দরকার নেই. Said, I can't believe I lost so much. My friend's advice was terrible. He will never say. Now, in your case, Sid will say, my mutual fund distributor's advice is terrible. But when market was soaring, it is my instinct which were spot on. So when market gives return, it is investors' instinct. When it is on negative, there will be investors who will be saying, what you have done, I have lost all my money because of you. Now, this is where the irrationality actually starts. So biases wise, if I think, Akash is having an overconfidence bias. Maybe he was too confident. Madhu, anchor bias. Whatever she has seen, she is thinking that is the only way to save. There is no other way because risk ache. Confirmation bias is having Sid. He is actually having an approach of getting confirmation from his friends or from his mutual fund advisor and then investing. Trends alone is not enough. Always seeks a confirmation. ঠিক আছে তো, করবো তো. If it goes well, it is his credit. If it is not, then it is somebody else's problem. So today we will try to touch upon few of these type of biases cognitive and emotional আজকে আমরা কথা বলবো না, maybe at any point of time in future, if I have any chance of having this session with you all, definitely we will talk about emotional. But today we will be talking about more on cognitive biases, belief and processing errors. Now, cognitive biases actually মানে কি? It actually happens due to the faulty reasoning and lack of understanding of the proper model or information. Now, we all are human being. আমাদের সমস্ত ইনফরমেশন যেগুলো আসে ঠিকভাবে we will not be able to process. So there will be some faulty reasons, memory error होगा, जो भी पास में हम देखे हैं, I will start anchoring on those. All those things are cognitive biases. Emotional biases, the best example of emotional bias is overconfidence. So emotional biases are not related to any consciousness. It is more of impulse, gut, feelings. All those things are from emotional biases. So today we will be talking about more on cognitive biases. Now, cognitive bias, as I have shown, there are two things. One is belief and the second is processing error. Now, belief, the first thing which comes is confirmation bias. So whatever information an investor is seeking, that is checked with their existing beliefs. So suppose if you think, and I am taking a non-investment example, which will be easier to help. Okay, let us go through each one. I think there I will be using those. Second is illusion of control, conservative, representative, hindsight bias. I will try to explain each of that. Now, in case of confirmation bias. Now, suppose if you are in any of the city and if you are thinking of buying a car, somehow you have decided that a particular car company is a particular facelift version you want to buy. What you will start and just try to observe your own conversation or emotion whenever you are thinking any of these type of thing. Or maybe in this Diwali, you want to buy a kurta. Now you will be already more or less selected or thought of a particular type of kurta. You will try to have a conversation with those type of persons who says positive on that particular thing. না না এই গাড়িটা ভালো, এই মডেলটা তো খুব ভালো. And the persons who are not actually positive on your decision, you will tend to discount their decisions thinking that no puro jane na. Now this person who has actually said this is good, he is actually the most knowledgeable person. Now that is what confirmation bias says. So it is seeking information that supports one belief. Now how it happens? The moment you start seeking only those information which आपका ही belief को support करते हैं, at the end of the day, then you will come and say, I have checked everyone and everybody said that this is good and that's why I have bought. It is not the correct thing. Now, what you have to do is you have to refrain and understand that this bias can come and speak to those persons who have a different perspective. তো আপনি যদি again controversial জিনিস বোধহয়, but suppose আপনি একটা কোনো পার্টি বা কোনো একটা ধরনের জিনিসকে আপনি পছন্দ করেন, have a different perspective. Don't try to discount the other perspective so that you should be able to understand whether your perspective is correct or wrong. And after that, it's your decision. But in financial investment also, it's important that you stay informed, you understand different perspective, which even what you are thinking is not having the same type of information. And if it is not aligning your view, give more attention, because from there you can pick up pointers. আমি এটা বলছি না যে you have to align with the new view, but whatever pitfalls you can have in your view, you will be able to actually get those pitfalls corrected. That's why it becomes important কি যেটা আপনার সাথে মিলছে না, give more focus to those type of views. Then comes conservative bias. Conservative bias is sticking with familiar or traditional investment choices, because যদি পয়সা ডুবে যায়, now it is actually risky. So again, without any biases of any region, etc., as I am from East, what I have seen, it is the first question, কত দেবে, পয়সা ডুবে যাবে না তো, those problem happens. Now that is because of this conservative bias. The only thing you have to tell them, nudge them is এটাতে না invest করে, in fact the risk is much more. So avoiding equity, I think, is much riskier than investing into equity for long term. So every time you should reassess your portfolio, consider new opportunities, because you might also have biases. Because you have seen ki na na ei tinteই bhalo, but you don't know, there might be another 5 6 other funds or maybe other theme or way of investment which can be good for that investor. So always reassess, understand new things, and it's always good to be open for new ideas and expand the portfolio with a proper risk return analysis. I'm sure you will be having lot many investors. If anybody else is also facing the same problem of low voice, please you can put it in that chat box.
No, sir, the voice is okay. I think उनका कोई अपना system का issue है. I would suggest Olympic that if you can increase the volume of your speaker, because otherwise the sound is coming perfectly clear to me.
Correct. Done. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I think conservative bias is one, again, bias which we all may have, and your investor should also be aware of, and be aware of that biases. রেগে যাবেন না যদি কোনো investor বলে না না আমার পয়সা ডুবে যাবে তো, because he is having that bias. Now it is our duty to overcome that particular bias. Then comes representative bias. It's a mental shortcut. See, our memory is limited. আমরা আজকে 10 বছর আগে মার্কেটে কি হয়েছিল ভুলে যাই, and that's why we try to make a decision with some shortcut and stereotype or past experiences which is known to me. I will take those decisions which actually will be helpful with those past smaller time frame experiences. Now this can lead to a misjudgment, and I can also miss a great opportunity. So it's always better that have a diverse information. Don't go for কি লাস্ট 2 বছরে কি হয়েছে, এফআইআই ইনভেস্ট করেছে কি নেই করেছে, যখন এফআইআই নিয়ে যায় তখন it's not only a 1 year 2 year, and the pattern can also change. So have a much broader perspective. Don't rely on only past few patterns, because pattern can give you a different result altogether. And always question any assumption, anything. See, the one thing which I have learned, a better investment decision can only be made the moment you start questioning yourself in each step. So if a particular, and you will be seeing this type of biases in everyday's life, in investment on a regular basis. A particular theme, a particular fund যদি ভালো করে, একটা particular sector যদি ভালো করে, তারপরে সবাই জানে যে ওই সেক্টর হয়তো 100% রিটার্ন দিয়ে দিয়েছে in last 1 year, and then another fund comes in that sector. Again you will see automatically investor is coming into that particular fund, because they are thinking 100 তো হয়ে গেছে, তার মানে এটা খুব ভালো, again it will give another 100. No, it will not. And I'm not naming any particular sector or particular theme, but there are lot many cases that we 100% they were pore, now the NAV is below 10. Now that's the actual story, and that's the way you should think about for any investment. So don't have that representative bias, and I'm telling you with full responsibility, আপনার ইনভেস্টরের এই রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ বায়াস সবচেয়ে বেশি থাকবে। দে উইল পুশ ইউ দ্যাট এখানেই করব, কারণ আমার পাশের বাড়ি বলেছে এটাতে ডাবল হয়ে গেছে 2 বছরে। Now you have to show them the mirror and give different examples of such scenarios where there is a change in the pattern, there is a change in the theme, there is a change in the economic cycle. Or for that, you have to get yourself prepared, or we as an AMC has to help you to get prepared and to give those data points that why not this, the other thing might be good for that investor. This is again a very big biases, especially a last, in fact, हितेश जी already बोला है last एक हफ्ते का बारे में, but एक हफ्ता पहले तक you will be seeing lot of your investors having this illusion of control. I know all. अरे मेरे को पता है ना. See, I have invested in this. Why I require a mutual fund distributor? I have invested on my own to some 2-3 stocks, and that has given a superlative return double हो गया है एक साल में. Now, there is an illusion which is having a bias of having control of individuals, like कि मेरे को पता है, I know. Now, this can lead to overconfidence and a poor decision making. Now, the only way out which you can help an investor to do is every time come with different factors for which a market is going up or market is sideways or whatever is your view. And I'm 100% certain that every time whatever is your view is not going to match, but it has to backed by some logic. It is not ऐसे ही होता है. So whatever the factors which are there, which is managing the market, or which is because of that the market is going upwards, downwards, or sideways, and what is your view? And then there will be few which is not in any of our control. So lot of time people ask me কি মার্কেট কি পড়তে পারে, যদি পড়ে কিসের জন্য? মার্কেটে কি 10%-এর উপরেও কারেকশন হবে? 15% মতন ডিপ কারেকশন হতে পারে কি? And if yes, why? Now, frankly speaking, whenever the correction will be a 15% plus or 20% plus, if in a very short span of time, it will be with some new reason. It will not be with some old reason. Old reason যদি কারো জানা থাকতো, it is already factored in the market. So you have to be also aware of that there might be few things which are beyond our control to know, and that's what a new reason which will come. So ব্ল্যাক সোয়ান ইভেন্ট, ইনফ্যাক্ট একটা ভালো বইও রয়েছে ড্যানিয়েল ক্যানিম্যানের. I think that's what happens every time in the market. So don't be on that illusion that you have or we have a control on whatever is happening. These are all probability. Ultimately, investment decisions what you are taking is on the basis of probability. আজকের দিনে সমস্ত কিছু ফ্যাক্টর নিয়ে we think that in this particular segment the probability is much better to get a better experience. If the factor changes, the thing change. And if that changes, if you require to rebalance the portfolio, you have to, or it may also happen, you don't have to do anything. But be aware of that it's not everything is in our control. Hindsight bias, when you are convinced that accurately predicted, you can predict event, and it happens maybe, so in a colloquial term, we say, suppose if an investor starts investing on his own in equity market, our prothom du-tinta investment has given a very good result, he starts having this hindsight bias. See, I have taken this decision, it has given a superlative performance. You will see in your peers also, there will be a lot of mutual fund partners. Whenever there is any change in the debt market or some fiasco has happened, you will be hearing those voices. আমি তো ওর আগেই সমস্ত কিছু রিডিম করে নিয়েছিলাম, আমি সুইচ করে দিয়েছিলাম। Now, the moment a person says that, be very clear, he is actually having now, if it's true, he may start having a hindsight bias. Now, it may also happen to me, you, and everyone. So any point of time, if you have taken a correct decision and a very big decision which has helped your investors immensely, be clear that you may start having this hindsight bias. Start acknowledging that future is uncertain, outcomes are not at all predictable. So the moment you are thinking of taking any other decisions in future, then put in a paper or in an app or in a way where whatever is comfortable to you, thoughts, expectations, different events, different factors, and 3 type of scenario. One is bear case, one is bull case, one is base. The moment you create this overall structure, it becomes easier for you to control and take a decision, and easier for you also to have a discussion with your investors. Now, as I said, we will be trying to explain 2 types of biases in cognitive. The second one comes is the process error. Process error is because of our inability for memory, attention span, decision making, all the errors which we take. You will see a lot of things will have a little bit about overlap, whatever biases we have said, because there might be few of the things which might be little bit similar. So anchoring bias, availability bias, mental accounting bias, framing bias, these are the 4 biases which are there part of process error. Now, anchor bias. Anchoring biases কি? এটা একটা cognitive trap where mind relies heavily on the first place of information. যেটা দেখেছি সেটার উপরেই থাকবো, সেটাই হচ্ছে আমার initial belief, and I will not change with the changes which has happened. So suppose whenever there is a cup or কোন একটা প্রাইস যদি আমরা স্টকের দেখেছি একটা পার্টিকুলার প্রাইসে রয়েছে, ওর পরে we will wait কি ওই প্রাইসে যদি আসে তবেই আমি কিনবো, ওই ন্যাবে যদি আসে আমি তবেই কিনবো. It may not happen, the thing may change, it may actually be more, or it may also happen that it's actually priced more at the first point of time. So suppose এখানে একটা খুব simple example, and this trick you will see happens across the markets, especially in these type of goods. কাপের প্রাইস প্রথমে 300 টাকা, তারপরে ওটার actually price was the 200 rupees, it's printed 300. Then there is another time where it is written as 1000, and then deep discount, 70% discount, and with discount it's 300 rupees. Now the moment it happens, you think, আরে আবার 300 টাকায় পাচ্ছি, চলো নিয়ে যাই. Now that's the problem, that's the error which we do. So uh, I think it's important that we should recognize our bias and try to seek more and more diverse sources of data. The more data you have, automatically your opinion or your decision can be with a broader perspective. Then comes availability bias. You have few data points, and with those mental shortcut or data points, your informations, whatever is there, you think that you are making decisions with all the informations taking into account. Now, information overflow is there, I fully agree. যে ইনফরমেশন আপনার কাছে readily available রয়েছে, whatever you have with you একদম on the fingertip, is it a good thing to take decision only with this, or can you seek out with much bigger wide range of information for a different perspective? Maybe ইনভেস্টমেন্টের থেকে একটু দূরে যাচ্ছি, it applies to all our life. See, as a country also we say India is a country of seekers. এখানে আমাদেরকে যা বলা হয়েছে, we have not taken that only, we have always seek, we have questioned everything. Can we do the same thing in investment as well? Otherwise we can actually have a problem of overestimating the importance of recent events or numbers or the things which we can actually remember. But যেটা আমি remember করতে পারি না, that is my blind spot. If I take that data as well, automatically it becomes easier for me to do or take a better decision. So the best thing is consult with peers, experts. Now you all are lucky to be in the safe hands of Finomatics. You all are lucky to have these type of udders, these type of interaction. So engage, learn from your peers, your experts, and then have a counter of your biases to get a better decision making process. Mental accounting bias, again মনে মনে করে নিয়ে we take a financial decision which is a suboptimal decision. A best example is 20% of my money I will put it in riskier assets, small cap এ দিয়ে দেবো. Now when that 20% has become 30% or 40%, mental accounting will not be able to realign. In fact, there was a very good video আমাদের এই প্রোগ্রামটার আগেই হিতেশজি চালিয়েছিল, where it shows asset allocation, and when one asset goes up, again rebalancing. Now this cannot happen with mental accounting. You have to do it after seeing the holistic picture. Now there might be investors who will not be jittery, who will be jittery কি আমাকে এত কোয়েশ্চেন করছে কেন, ওভারঅল হোয়াট ইজ ইওর প্ল্যান, কবে কি চাই, জাস্ট বলছি কোন ফান্ডটা ভালো হবে ইনভেস্ট করব, give me this answer. Now the moment you do that, you actually create a problem for this mental accounting, because you don't know, maybe he is having a small mental accounting ki ami ekbar 10 lakh ekare dilam, when that 10 lakh has become 8 lakhs or 12 lakhs, what to do? That also has to be planned much before. So mental accounting typically people do, especially for speculative purpose. The moment you put it in a paper, and then even if he is doing a speculation, that there has to be a limit with that speculation. The moment you do it, automatically it becomes much easier. Last one, framing bias. Now uh, uh, there will be influence, there will be ways and means people will try to nudge you. এই যেমন দুটো এক্সাম্পল, যেটা এক্সাম্পলটা দেওয়া হয়েছে, ফার্স্ট এক্সাম্পল সেজ yogurt 80% fat free, the second says 20% fat. Now typically you will see people will start buying this 80% fat free, but actually it is 20% fat. So lot of places you will see sugar free, but sugar রয়েছে ওর মধ্যে, সেটাও বলেনি, বলছে sugar free 80%, 20% there is something else. Now, the moment you recognize that how informations can be presented to you, there will be always a way and means to frame and to put you or nudge you in a particular way. If you know that this might happen, you will be much more uh, 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 able to ensure that these biases doesn't hurt your investment decision. So start comparing different options, different angles, objective wise, see your data. Don't be married to a particular stock or a particular investment decision or allocation. The moment you check and question yourself, the things changes. So I think with this, you will be able to a little bit overcome your biases. Again, I'm saying lot of you might be knowing this. আপনারা সবাই জানেন, আমরাও জানি. Only thing, the more we discuss, it becomes easier. Now, how to overcome? As I said, in each of these biases, it's easy, but it's tough to follow. So understand your biases. Each of us will be having few of the biases we are much stronger and few which are not that much strong. The stronger biases is hard to manage. Challenge your assumptions, whatever assumption you have done. Diversify your portfolio as much as possible and set a clear goal. I think that might be a better way. If possible, I think today's session also and in future also, whatever way you think, educate about biases, reflect on each of your past decision, seek different perspective. It's not that ki কোথাও আপনার ভুল decision হচ্ছে ঠিক decision. We are irrational. We are supposed to take good decision, right decision, but there will be cases where we will be taking wrong decision. But whenever that happens, that's actually a way of learning. Keep a journal. When I'm saying learning, learning will never happen unless and until you put it as a journal. As an individual, I'm telling you, I'm sharing you what I do. Every Saturday, I keep at least 1 hour, পুরো সপ্তাহে যা করেছি, just to understand and have a discussion with myself, where I have gone wrong, where I have gone right, how much time I have actually wasted in different things, whether there was any scope of improvement. The moment you do, and it's not that ki apnake kauke dekhate hobe, it is you and you are the best judge of yourself. Same way in investment also, whenever you are taking a decision, put the reasons for which you are taking a decision. So আজকের দিনে, for example, আমি যদি বলি আজকে consumerism বেড়ে গেছে, automatically the segment, the sectors, the theme which actually invest into those type of stocks will be good. And if you think that is correct, put those reasons and see whether that has actually helped or not. If not, why? And whether there is any learning with that particular decision. Slow down while investing. Ultimately, that click invest হয়ে যায়. But before that, the decision making is much important. Question your assumptions and stay mindful. Understand that we are irrational. আমরা সবাই হাতির কোনো না কোনো একটা জিনিস দেখছি, দেখে একটা ভাবছি ডিসিশন নেওয়ার। But it's better that step back and seek alternate informations, different type of approach, and try to have a better perspective. The mantra is diversify your portfolio. The more you diversify, it's better. In fact, debt যেমন আমরা ভুলেই গেছি, but there are funds. I'm just taking a name of a particular fund. Say Bajaj Finserv Banking and PSU debt fund. I understand it's a debt fund, but the expectation or the endeavor of almost double digit का पास जाने का काफी चांस है. Interest rate अगर नीचे आ जाता है, it becomes much better. Plus high yielding bank and PSU paper है. So credit wise, there is not much of problem. All these things somehow recency bias আছে, এখন তো দেখছি করে লাভ নেই, ইকুইটিতে তো সবসময় রিটার্ন হয় আর রিস্ক তো প্রায় নেই. The moment you have that biases, you will start avoiding that. If possible, try to put set goal of your investors. The moment you put set goals, automatically it becomes easier for you to achieve that goal through your investors investment, and not to come out of that goal in between only seeing the market choppiness. Third source বলে আমাদের একটা ইউটিউব গিয়ে টাইপ করবেন, the third source. There are 23 small videos on different type of biases. If possible, ট্রাই করুন দেখবার জন্য যখনই টাইম হবে, হোয়াট এভার টাইম, whenever you think of. I think that will also help you to have a much better way of investment. Now, what we think that a probability of happy investment experience increases when you invest in mega trend. Again, I'm saying I use the word probability, কারণ ultimately investment is a probability. Now, mega trend আমাদের আশপাশের সমস্ত জায়গায় হচ্ছে, whether it is because of technology, regulatory, economic, nature, demographic, social. আপনারা যদি ট্রাভেল করেন, সুটকেস দেখবেন সবাই নতুন নতুন সুটকেস নিচ্ছে, দ্যাটস আ মেগা ট্রেন্ড। আপনারা যদি নিজেরাই লক্ষ্য করে থাকেন, একটা সময় ছিল অ্যাভারেজ ইন্ডিয়ান মোটামুটি মিডল ক্লাস হাউসহোল্ড ওয়াজ ওয়্যারিং 2 pairs of shoes. আজকের দিনে বাড়িতে নিজেই একবার চেক করে দেখবেন আপনার কটা পেয়ার অফ শুজ রয়েছে, আর ছোটবেলায় আপনার কত পেয়ার অফ শু ছিল। নাও দ্যাটস আ মেগা ট্রেন্ড, ইটস নট গোয়িং টু কাম ডাউন, দ্যাটস ফর শিওর। শার্ট, একটা সময় দর্জিকে দিয়ে সেলাই করতাম, নাও 90% of us are taking ready-made shirts. All those things are changed. It's a mega trend. There will be companies which will be affected positively with those mega trend, like for example UPI এর জন্য, and demography change plus লোকেদের সময় কম, যেই মুহূর্তে অ্যাপে খাবারের অর্ডার করছে খাবার চলে আসছে, automatically you will see these type of food app, these companies are growing. Now that's a positive side. On the other side, because of UPI, candy sales কমে গেছে, কারণ ছুটটা আর কাউকে দিতে হয় না, it's all about UPI. So there is a positive side, there is a negative side. The moment the positive side কোনো কেউ affected positively রয়েছে, if I invest into those company, definitely there is a probability of getting a better return. Yes, AI is a mega trend. So রঞ্জিত দা একদম ঠিক কথা বলেছেন। Concentrated story, the moment you create a portfolio which will be having, now again I'm saying this is a thing which you have to think through, কি একটা হচ্ছে মেগা ট্রেন্ড, ডাইভার্সিফিকেশন, সমস্ত কিছু করলাম, যেমন আমাদের ফ্লেক্সি ক্যাপ ফান্ড রয়েছে, and then there will be few themes where you can have a concentrated story, যেমন কনজাম্পশন বেড়েছে আমরা সবাই জানি, and that is going to be there, it's not going to stop, it is going to increase. Now if you invest in those type of concentrated story, maybe there is a probability of having a better return expectation. And the last one is asset allocation. Don't forget investing into liquid fund or banking PSU or whatever way you think putting into debt. আমার যেটা মনে হয় আপনারা সবাই জানেন, I'm not going through each of these but think of this simple things. Rural market বাড়ছে, it's huge, and what we think it's going to reach 100 billion 2025. When I said concentrated, a concentrated কোনখানে আপনি concentrate করবেন? Indian food service again hugely change. Organic food, think yourself, when you go now you will see that there are organic tea, organic coffee. এখন ধাপার কফিও অর্গানিক কিনা আমি জানি না, I am not going into that discussion, but organic food, we are more towards those type of organic food. We are using two-wheeler. There is a very big change which has happened. There was a time, especially I think 99 2000, when 100cc was the mostly sold two-wheeler. In current context, you will see people are talking about 400 plus cc. Now there is a change, so people are actually going for much better product, and it's not that it's a normal thing which is happening. Every country the same thing has happened. যেই মুহূর্তে per capita income $2500 per capita cross করে, these are the consumptions where we see a big change which happens. People go for consume more, consume better, consume well, consume easy. These are the 4 ways we go. Consume more money. When we were actually brushing our teeth for once a day, we will start brushing our teeth twice a day. Majority of the Indians will go into toothpaste rather than going into nimer daton. All those changes is consume more. 2 pairs of shoes, we will be having maybe 4 pairs of shoes. যে শুটা জীবনে পরবো না সেটাও কিনে বসে থাকবো। Consume better, will always go for better quantity থেকেও quality. So if you are using a particular cream, slowly observe yourself. আস্তে আস্তে maybe after 4 years, 5 years down the line, you are using a much better. আপনি যদি অল্টোতে শুরু করেছিলেন, maybe now you have gone towards a much better version of the car. So we are going for consume better. Consume well, there is a huge awareness. Sugar free, second organic, or anything which is better for my health and wellness, we go for that. And all of these thing একটা অ্যাপে রয়েছে। ইনফ্যাক্ট আই ওয়াজ সিইং ব্লিঙ্কিটে তো এখন কুর্তাও পাওয়া যাচ্ছে, উইদিন 10 মিনিটস আপনার ঘরে কুর্তা চলে আসবে। Now that's what is changing the whole consumption story. So as I was saying about biases, there are biases which will be there for our own practices. When I'm saying practices, these consumptions are our biases. It's not going to change. এটা কেউ change করতে পারবে না. It's going to increase. Can I take advantage of that, of those a change in practice which across pan India people are having? So increased income, rising middle class, rural consumption, all those things are actually having a advantage to the investors. In fact, one that was quite interesting. Prabodh Kumar Chaudhary, I will come to that. So please try to have an understanding about consumption. Why I thought of having this last pointed to you, because with all those understanding of the biases, if you are thinking about your investors, the last question which comes, korbo ki. In fact, the question which actually sir asked, fall হয়েছে মার্কেটে, কোথায় ইনভেস্ট করব, কি সব ফান্ডই ভালো রয়েছে। There, think about this, whether risk return wise, if your investor is okay for this type of bet, where it's not normal sectoral fund, it's a theme and a mega theme on a mega trend which is not going to change. Can I take advantage of this mega trend? So consume easy, consume well, consume more, and consume better. So consume more, consume better, consume well, and consume easy. These 4, I think, reasons for which we think consumption is a better option at this point of time. Now we said, check it and then think and then decide. For example, market fall jodi apni bhaben, we thought of giving this data point, and when we thought of giving this, we were not knowing market er moddhe kono correction o aste pare ba kokhon hobe keu, nobody knows. But if you see, actually this is one segment, this is one theme which is much resilient to any of the fall in the market. So let's draw down, and automatically it becomes a much better option for an investor. And that's why, as from Bajaj Finserv AMC, we try to launch any of our fund, any of our new offering after seeing the market. We also know 10 বছর পরে দাদা কোন সময় লঞ্চ করেছিলাম কোনো তার এফেক্ট নেই। But as a new AMC, it's important that we try as per probability of ours, whichever we think is good for the investor to bring out, so that we can create much more happy investors. With that, thanks to each one of you. If you have any question, anything, you can put it on the chat box, and I can, or way you can ask. Lastly, Prabodh Chaudhary dar ekta question chilo, yesterday's market fall, all type of funds like we advise our, is this the case or is our mindset? Yes sir, that's the problem. যে কোনো ফান্ডই চলবে, করবেন না। That's why I purposefully thought, and don't think that কি NFO এসছে NFO এর জন্য বলছি তাই ভেবে না, এই জন্য that this is the way you can think of, that if there is a mega trend, and mega trend is like which you cannot change it, পুরো বাস্কেট যদি নিতে হয় ফ্লেক্সি ক্যাপে আসুন। কিন্তু যদি আপনি ভাবেন যে না ফল হয়েছে and there is an opportunity, and your investor can take this type of investments, why not then come or choose a particular theme which you think or we think is going to be a mega trend for many years to come. Now, whatever data points, whatever we will be sharing it, check it, understand your own biases, and then take a decision. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anirudh sir. Really, जब भी आपको सुनता हूँ ना कुछ नया सीखने को मिलता है, ये तो कंफर्म है। मैं ये तो आराम से कह सकता हूँ कि जब भी आपको सुनता हूँ कुछ ना कुछ नया सीखता हूँ। अ, सबसे पहले तो क्वेश्चन आंसर ले लेते हैं सबसे। तो मैं बोलूंगा कि जिनके भी कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं, मैं एक सर अनिरुद्ध सर, रिक्वेस्ट यू टू सर, आप मेरे को होस्ट बना दो एक बार।
ये कहाँ से करें?
सर आप देखो, मेरे नाम के वहां पे ना सर 3 डॉट होगा।
हाँ मैं वही, हाँ
हाँ
मिल
तो
गया मिल गया।
हाँ तो वहां से आप मेरे को होस्ट बना
हाँ
दो।
कर दिया।
हाँ, तो क्या है कि सर जिनके भी कोई भी
राइट।
क्वेश्चन होंगे तो वो हैंड रेस कर सकते हैं या क्यूएनए में अपना क्वेश्चन लिख सकते हैं। तब तक सर मैं एक दो क्वेश्चन पूछ लेता हूँ कि सर आपने अभी कंज्यूमर जैसे कहा कि ये अपना फंड आ रहा है नया एनएफओ, तो इस समय ये फंड लेकर जो आप लोग आ रहे हैं, तो आप लोगों के हिसाब से क्या लग रहा है कि भाई मार्केट में अभी किस तरह का ट्रेंड चल रहा है या किस तरह का ट्रेंड लग रहा है एक्चुअल में? ये मैं
राइट सर।
पर्सनली पूछ रहा हूँ, आपने मेरे को पीपीटी में बहुत कुछ दिखाया, लेकिन अगर मैं पर्सनली आपसे पूछूं
तो हम लोग कंजम्पशन क्यों लिए हैं और क्यों
हाँ
अभी के लिए हम लोग वेट कर रहे थे?
हाँ
See, there are two things, and again, I'm saying it's all about probability, sir. One, global economy, is there a problem? Yes, there is a problem. ठीक है, काफी सारा प्रॉब्लम है, बट खुद को क्वेश्चन करना होगा। लास्ट 10 साल में एक भी साल आपको नहीं मिलेगा जहां पर कोई वार नहीं हुआ है या कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं आया है। तो
एकदम।
ये भी हम लोग सब हर साल देखे हैं।
हम्म,
Now, so global problem is there. The moment there is a global problem, or the moment there is some issue in their home country, any FII, first thing happens कि भाई पैसा नहीं है, नहीं जाएगा, खुद का कंट्री में आ जाओ। Second, there is also a pattern of investment into China because China is slowly stabilizing, etc., etc. So that's also, and whatever we say, China is a much bigger economy. तो हम लोग ड्रीम कर सकते हैं, but China is much bigger than us. Now coming to India, whether correction is good, yes, I think correction is good. It's a healthy correction, and there might be more correction. But if I think about India as a whole, middle class income is growing. There is a huge consumerism which is going on. Being part of again a group where there is one of the largest NBFC which is very much attached to consumerism, we see very closely the way the things are changing. The examples which we gave, toothpaste, shoes. These are simple things, but it gives you an idea that how the things are changing.
यस
एंड खुद चेक करने का कोशिश कीजिएगा आपका वार्डरोब में कितना शर्ट पड़ा हुआ है जो आप कभी पहने ही नहीं है, बट वो पड़ा हुआ है और नेक्स्ट डीप डिस्काउंट होगा आप फिर खरीद लेंगे. Now that is not going to change in India, and that's why we will do more consumption. We will go for quality consumption. We will ensure that consumption segment is going to grow, and that's the reason for which we came up and waited for this particular moment. और दिवाली भी है, दिवाली पे कंजम्पशन और बढ़ जाता है, सो टाइमिंग भी थोड़ा करके वी ट्राई टू लॉन्च इट नाउ, व्हिच आई थिंक इज गोइंग टू बी गुड फॉर द इन्वेस्टर.
और सर अगर मैं मार्केट की बात करूं तो मार्केट में भले इंडेक्स में अगर आपने बोले तो सर 3 से 4% या 5% करेक्शन आया, लेकिन स्टॉक वाइज बोलेंगे तो सर बहुत अच्छा करेक्शन आ चुका। इट्स अ हेल्दी करेक्शन।
सो हम लोग ना आज से 2 महीना पहले से भी हम लोग बोल रहे थे, और उस टाइम में काफी क्वेश्चंस भी आता था. We were saying that slowly you should start allocating more into large cap, and अगर स्मॉल एंड मिड से प्रॉफिट बुक करना है तो कर सकते हैं. एसआईपी जो चल रहा है वो एकदम चलाइए, देयर इज नो रीजन टू कम. But if you want to do some tactical call, that is because those changes are going to happen, and that's why purposefully we launched large cap fund. उस टाइम में बहुत पुश था कि स्मॉल कैप लेके आ जाइए, स्मॉल कैप तो इतना पैसा ले लेगा, या कोई सेक्टरल फंड, क्योंकि कुछ कुछ सेक्टर बहुत अच्छा जो सेक्टर रिटर्न दिया है वो आ जाता था. इनफैक्ट फॉर एग्जांपल कंजम्पशन का पास्ट रिटर्न अगर देखेंगे 1-2 साल में बहुत अच्छा नहीं है. सो इट्स नॉट दैट इट हैज गिवन 100% रिटर्न, वैसे नहीं है. So purposefully we waited and we launched large cap fund. तो हम लोगों को क्या लगता है, ओवरऑल अगर आप देखेंगे इंडियन इकोनॉमी, इट्स एक्चुअली वर्ल्ड में वी आर वन ऑफ द बेस्ट नाउ विच वी हैव. कहीं पर भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम होता है, वी टेक एडवांटेज ऑफ दैट प्रॉब्लम. आप सोचिए ना, यूक्रेन और रशिया का वॉर हुआ, इंडिया बिकेम एन ऑयल एक्सपोर्टिंग कंपनी, मतलब कंट्री, और इंडिया में कोई ऑयल है नहीं. सो एक्चुअली इट बिकम्स, सो again a very interesting thing. Israel Hamas war हो रहा है, Iran, Israel, everybody is expecting कुछ शायद हो जाएगा, etc. India gave up. In fact, India's Ministry of External Affairs, though they said that war हमको पसंद नहीं है, etc. But there is a affinity कि Israel के साथ ऐसे against में नहीं गए हैं. They are more towards that particular bloc. On the other hand, the same day, India was actually running a joint naval or military expedition with Iran.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of the way the country is being managed. I am not with any party or I am not with any particular country. Whatever is good for the country, we will do that. With all those things, with a huge change in the economic activity, the financialization, money coming into the equity market, we are positive on equity. We think that 3-4 साल के लिए जो invest कर रहे हैं, there is no reason. But yes, cautious होना चाहिए, large cap में आना चाहिए, asset allocation is important, और ये भूल जाइए कि equity risk free है, equity risky है.
रिस्की है, नो डाउट सर. नहीं सर, मेरे हिसाब से भी सर बेस्ट टाइम है कोई भी नया फंड के लिए. एक मार्केट में हेल्दी करेक्शन भी हो गया है, और ये जो सर फंड का कैटेगरी है, नो डाउट बहुत अच्छा कैटेगरी है, और मार्केट में भी इसका डिमांड भी है.
राइट सर.
तो यही बोलकर मैं सबको बोलूंगा कि इस फंड में बजाज, हम सब जानते हैं कि कितनी अच्छी कंपनी है, कितनी बड़ी कंपनी है. तो मैं यही बोलूंगा, और हम सब देख ही रहे हैं कि बजाज का फ्लेक्सी कैप या ये सब हम बेच ही रहे हैं. तो आइए इसी में अपने सब मिलकर और थोड़ा सपोर्ट करते हैं, और एक अच्छा इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए करते हैं सर, है कि नहीं सर?
राइट सर.
ओके सर.
विवेक सर, एक
हाँ.
क्वेश्चन था, मैं अगर पढ़े, देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन कि व्हाट इज द क्रेडिट रेटिंग ऑफ द रामकृष्ण साहा, आपने पूछे है न्यू एमसी हैज एनी क्रेडिट रेटिंग. तो मेरे को लगा कि अगर आप, मैं जो सोच रहा है कि भाई न्यू एमसी है, नया एमसी है, करना चाहिए कि नहीं, इसका क्या ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है, कैसे मेरे को डर लगेगा. तो सर इसलिए आई थॉट ऑफ आंसरिंग दिस क्वेश्चन.
व्हाई नॉट सर?
So I will give a little bit perspective. This group is a 100-year plus group. This is the 4th largest group in this country, and not having many companies. It is having very limited company. The largest group अगर देखेंगे, it will be having, or the second largest group will be having more than 100 company. But यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे the number of companies are much smaller. But wherever they have gone, they have actually done good, and they have become one of the largest player in that particular segment. For the group, for Bajaj Finserv as a whole, if I think, we are a very small company, sir. बहुत ही छोटे से कंपनी है. मैं कितना भी कुछ करे, my PAT जब भी आएगा will be much smaller than the largest NBFC in this country. But why are we? We are here to create more happy investor. For this group, it is very important कि I create, or we try to create, or endeavor is to create happy investor across भारत. Because अगर कोई दुखी इन्वेस्टर हो जाएगा, वो ये नहीं बोलेगा बजाज फिनसर्व म्यूचुअल फंड में मेरा पैसा का प्रॉब्लम हुआ, वो बोलेगा बजाज में मेरा पैसा डूब गया. एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी वांट. सो विद दिस आई कैन assure you, our endeavor is to create more and more happy investor. With this brand, I don't think you should have any question mark on this.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. नो डाउट इसी यही कारण है कि सर, यही सब छोटे छोटे कारण है कि जो इतना मेरे को पसंद है कि सर मैं जब भी सुनता हूँ आपको सुनता हूँ. इसके संग सर थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risk. Please read the offer document carefully before investing.